Communication is the bridge between you and the world. Every word you speak, every gesture you make, every silence you hold, all of it sends a message. The truth is, your ability to communicate well can open doors that talent alone cannot. It can help you connect with people, inspire them, and leave a lasting impression. Yet, most people underestimate how powerful it is to master communication. Think about it. A brilliant idea unspoken dies in silence. A heartfelt emotion, poorly expressed, gets misunderstood. But when your words carry clarity and confidence, they can move hearts, shift perspectives, and create opportunities. In the next few minutes, I will guide you through timeless principles that will improve your communication skills. Principles you can start applying immediately. Each chapter will give you not just knowledge, but practical wisdom you can use in your daily life. Together, we will strengthen your ability to connect, influence, and express yourself with power and grace. Let's begin this journey. The very first moment you encounter someone, you are already communicating. Before you even open your mouth, your presence speaks volumes. Your posture, the look in your eyes, the way you carry yourself, these subtle signals shape the way others perceive you. Within a few seconds, impressions are formed. People begin to decide if you are confident, if you are trustworthy, and if your words will be worth listening to. This truth can feel overwhelming at first, but it should give you strength. Because once you understand the importance of those first moments, you gain the power to shape them. You are not a prisoner of chance impressions. You are the author of your presence, and you can decide how you want to be received. Consider the difference between two simple scenarios. Imagine someone enters a room with their shoulders hunched, their gaze cast downward, and their movements hesitant. Even if that person carries immense talent and intelligence, the initial message they broadcast is one of uncertainty. The audience, without consciously analyzing, may think this person is unsure. Maybe they are not prepared. Now picture another individual entering the same space with calm assurance. They walk upright, with a natural smile, and make gentle eye contact. Without uttering a single sentence, this person communicates respect, both for themselves and for the people they are about to meet. Immediately, the atmosphere shifts. Attention is given. Openness is extended. The difference is not luck. It is intentional communication through presence. When you show up with awareness of your body language and your energy, you set a foundation that words can build upon. This is why great communicators don't simply rely on eloquence. They know that the message begins long before the first word is spoken. Creating a strong impression does not require you to be flawless. It requires you to be present. Presence means giving your full attention to the moment, not rushing ahead in your mind, and not hiding in self-doubt. Presence means standing fully where you are and saying, through your actions, I am here and I value this exchange. Authenticity grows naturally out of presence, and authenticity, more than any polished performance, is what draws people in. A practical way to build this presence is to develop small rituals before every new interaction. For example, before entering a meeting or introducing yourself to someone new, pause for a brief moment. Take a slow, steady breath. Straighten your back and imagine yourself rooted to the ground like a strong tree. Tell yourself silently, I belong here. This quiet preparation not only calms your nerves, but also radiates outward. Others may not know what you just did, but they will sense the confidence and steadiness that follows. You have likely experienced this from the other side as well. Think of the last time someone entered a room and immediately changed the energy around them. Perhaps they said nothing at first, but their presence alone captured attention. That was not an accident. It was communication at its most subtle and powerful level. The truth is, people may not always remember the exact words you spoke. What they carry with them is the impression you made, the emotional imprint you left behind in those first few seconds. Were you hurried, distracted, and unsure, or were you calm, attentive, and engaged? That memory lingers, and it colors everything that follows in your interaction. This is why the journey of communication begins long before sentences and speeches. It begins with the self. Awareness of how you enter a moment. It begins with choosing to embody the confidence, respect, and openness you wish others to feel. Each time you meet someone, you are painting the canvas of your relationship with your presence. And when that first stroke is bold, warm, and authentic, the entire picture that follows will carry that strength. So remember, the story of your communication does not start when your voice rises. It starts when you arrive. Every meaningful conversation begins with listening, not speaking. Most people believe that communication is about choosing the right words, delivering them with confidence, and persuading others. While these elements matter, they are secondary to something far more powerful: the ability to truly listen. Listening is not simply waiting for your turn to talk. It is an act of giving attention, respect, and space to the other person. When you listen deeply, you send a message that says, you matter. Your voice is important. And in return, people open themselves more fully to you. Think back to the times when you felt heard. Perhaps it was a teacher who didn't just answer your question, but paused and understood the struggle behind it. Or maybe it was a friend who noticed the hesitation in your tone and asked if you were really okay. In those moments, their listening created a sense of safety, and that safety allowed you to share more. Honestly, that is the gift of listening. It transforms communication from a transaction of words into a connection of hearts. When you listen, you begin to notice more than just the content of what is said. You hear the pauses, the sighs, the small shifts in tone. You see the eyes that light up when a topic excites someone, and the shoulders that drop when something hurts. All of these signals tell you more than words ever could. A wise communicator knows that silence often speaks louder than speech. There is a practical habit you can cultivate to improve your listening. The next time you are in a conversation, focus fully on the person in front of you. Put aside distractions, silence your inner commentary, and resist the urge to plan your reply while they are still speaking. Instead, give yourself permission to simply absorb their words. Nod to show you are engaged. Reflect back what you have heard, and ask questions that show genuine curiosity. This not only helps you understand them better, but it also makes them feel valued. Listening has another hidden power. It teaches you patience and humility. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the one who takes the time to listen stands out. People will remember you, not just for your eloquence, but for the comfort of your presence. They will trust you more because they feel that you are not trying to dominate the conversation, but to understand it. Consider how leaders inspire people. They don't always do it by speaking the most. Often, they do it by listening the best. By listening, they learn what others need, what fears hold them back, and what dreams drive them forward. Only then do their words carry weight, because those words are rooted in understanding. If you want to improve your communication skills, begin by reminding yourself that your next sentence is less important than the other person's current one. Every time you choose to listen, you are investing in clarity. You are reducing the risk of misunderstanding, and you are building a bridge of trust. The beauty of listening is that it requires no special talent or training. It only requires presence. Anyone can do it, but few practice it consistently. And those who do are remembered as thoughtful, wise, and trustworthy. So the next time you enter a conversation, slow down. Look into the eyes of the speaker. Let your mind quiet down. Absorb their words as though they are offering you a piece of their inner world, because in truth, they are. And when you honor that gift, your communication becomes more than an exchange of words. It becomes a bond that leaves both of you richer than before. When you speak, your words are not the only thing people hear. The way you say them carries as much weight, if not more, than the sentences themselves. Think of your voice as an instrument. It can inspire, it can soothe, it can command attention, or it can be ignored. The tone, the pauses, the rhythm, even the silence in between. All of these elements shape how your message is received. Too often, people underestimate the power of tone. They focus only on the content of their speech, but neglect the music behind the words. A kind message delivered with irritation will sound harsh. A simple request expressed with warmth will sound inviting. Your tone creates the emotional doorway through which others experience your message. Imagine two people saying the same sentence. I believe in you. One says it flatly, without conviction, as if reading from a page. The other says it with steady eye contact, a firm yet gentle tone, and genuine belief in their voice. The words are identical, but the effect is worlds apart. This is why your voice must align with your intention. One way to master this is to become more aware of your breath. Breath is the foundation of speech. Shallow breathing creates a shaky voice, while deep, controlled breathing grounds your tone and makes it resonate with strength. Before you speak in an important situation, pause for a deep breath. Let your lungs fill fully, then release slowly. This simple act calms your nerves and gives your voice a natural steadiness. Another key is pacing. Many people rush through their words, fearing silence, as if every second of quiet will cause them to lose attention. Yet the opposite is true. When you learn to use pauses, your words carry more gravity. Silence is not your enemy, it is your ally. A short pause before a critical phrase can capture attention more than a stream of hurried words ever could. Consider a speaker telling a story. They reach the most important point, then stop for just a heartbeat. The audience leans in, waiting for the next words. That pause creates anticipation, and the message that follows lands with greater force. You too can practice this. Slow down. Let your words breathe. Let your listeners digest what you say, instead of overwhelming them with speed. Think also about variety. A monotone voice, no matter how wise the message, lulls people into disinterest. Your voice must carry highs and lows, moments of softness and moments of intensity. Just as music shifts in tempo and pitch to keep the listener engaged, your speech must have rhythm. This doesn't mean exaggeration. It means letting your natural emotions flow into your tone. There is also the power of sincerity. No matter how polished your delivery, if your tone does not reflect your true feelings, people will sense it. Authenticity resonates more than perfect technique. Speak from a place of honesty. If you are encouraging, let warmth fill your voice. If you are warning, let firmness ground your words. Communication is not performance. It is connection. Practice this in everyday life. Record yourself speaking. Listen not only to what you say, but how you say it. Do you sound rushed? Do you sound uncertain? Do you sound connected to your words? With awareness, you can begin adjusting your tone until it matches your message. When you master your tone, you unlock a new dimension of communication. You are no longer just transmitting information. You are moving hearts. Words may instruct, but tone inspires. Words may inform, but tone transforms. Remember this: people might forget the details of what you said, but they will always remember how your voice made them feel. There is a rhythm to every meaningful conversation, a flow that draws people in and makes them feel heard. At the heart of this rhythm lies one skill that is often overlooked: listening. Most people believe that communication is about speaking well, but true mastery begins with the ability to listen deeply. When you give someone your full attention, when you listen not just with your ears, but with your heart, you create a space where trust grows naturally. Think about the last time you felt truly heard. Perhaps a friend leaned forward, maintaining gentle eye contact, nodding as you spoke, and allowing you to express yourself without interruption. Didn't it feel comforting? Didn't it make you want to share more? That is the silent power of listening. It validates people's experiences. It tells them they matter, and it draws them closer to you. Now consider the opposite. Imagine speaking to someone who keeps glancing at their phone, who interrupts before you finish, or who seems more interested in preparing their next sentence than understanding yours. No matter how polite their words might be, the feeling they leave behind is distance, not connection. You walk away sensing you were merely tolerated, not respected. This is why listening is not passive. It is active, intentional, and transformative. When you listen well, you gain more than respect. You gain insight. People reveal themselves through their stories, their pauses, their choice of words. By paying attention, you gather the small details that others miss. Details that can help you respond in a way that resonates more deeply. Leaders, mentors, and great communicators all share this gift. They don't rush to fill the silence. They wait, they absorb, and then they respond with precision. There is a simple practice that can elevate your listening: instantly silence your internal commentary. Too often, while someone else is speaking, we are busy rehearsing our reply. We think of what advice to give, how to defend ourselves, or how to sound clever. In doing so, we miss the essence of what is being said. Instead, commit to being present. Let their words come to you as they are, without judgment, without planning. Only after they finish should you gather your thoughts and respond. Another powerful technique is reflective listening. This means summarizing or echoing back what you heard in your own words. For example, if someone says, "I feel overwhelmed with work," you might respond, "It sounds like you've got a lot on your plate right now." This doesn't just show that you heard them. It shows that you care enough to understand their experience. Such simple reflections often encourage people to open up further, deepening the conversation. Listening also requires awareness beyond words. Pay attention to tone, pace, and body language. Sometimes what people don't say reveals more than what they do. A hesitant pause, a nervous laugh, or averted eyes can speak volumes about emotions that remain unspoken. When you notice these cues and respond with sensitivity, you show a level of empathy that goes beyond ordinary conversation. Of course, listening does not mean you remain silent forever. It means you choose your words with care, shaped by the understanding you have gained. The best communicators are like mirrors. They reflect the truth of what others feel, while gently guiding the conversation toward clarity and resolution. This balance of listening and responding is what makes dialogue meaningful, rather than superficial. Ultimately, listening is an act of generosity. It is the gift of your attention, your patience, your presence. In a world filled with noise and distraction, few gifts are more rare or more valued. When you listen well, people remember you not for what you said, but for how you made them feel safe enough to share. That is the true art of communication, and it begins the moment you choose to be fully present with another human being. When we think about communication, most of us focus on what we are going to say. We rehearse our words, prepare our arguments, and polish our sentences. But the truth is, effective communication is not built on talking alone. It is built on listening. The ability to truly listen is one of the most underrated yet powerful skills you can ever develop. Listening creates connection. It tells the other person that their words matter, that their feelings are heard, and that their presence has value. When someone feels heard, they are far more likely to trust you, open up to you, and engage with you in a meaningful way. Think of the last time you were speaking to someone and realized they weren't really listening. Maybe they were scrolling on their phone, or their eyes kept darting away, or they were simply waiting for their turn to speak. How did it make you feel? Probably dismissed, unimportant, maybe even frustrated. Now, contrast that with the last time someone leaned in, gave you their full attention, and made you feel that your words were worthy of time and respect. That moment felt different, didn't it? You may not remember every word of the conversation, but every word of the feeling of being valued. That's the gift of true listening. Listening well is more than keeping your mouth closed while the other person talks. It is an active process. It requires patience, empathy, and discipline. When someone speaks, instead of planning your reply, try to enter their world. Pay attention not only to their words, but also to the emotions behind those words. Notice their tone, their pauses, the subtle shifts in their voice. Often, what is left unsaid carries more meaning than what is spoken. One powerful practice is to pause before responding. After the other person finishes speaking, resist the urge to jump in immediately. Take a second to process, to reflect on what they've said. This pause communicates respect. It shows that you are not rushing to reply, but genuinely absorbing their message. Another key to listening is asking questions that invite depth. Instead of cutting the conversation short with a quick opinion, try saying, "Tell me more about that," or "How did that make you feel. These simple prompts encourage openness and show that you care about the speaker's perspective. In doing so, you build trust, and trust is the foundation of every strong relationship, whether personal or professional. Listening is also a mirror. When you listen carefully, you learn not only about the other person, but also about yourself. You begin to notice your habits, the times you get impatient, the times your mind drifts, the times you want to interrupt. By becoming aware of these tendencies, you gain the chance to grow. True listening requires humility. It means accepting that the world does not revolve around your voice, but that wisdom can be found in the words of others. Great leaders, inspiring mentors, and beloved friends all share this trait. They don't dominate every conversation. They don't seek to be the loudest in the room. Instead, they master the art of silence, of creating space for others to be heard. And in that space, transformation happens. People reveal truths they've hidden. Solutions emerge that once seemed impossible, and relationships deepen in ways words alone could not achieve. The next time you are in conversation, remember this: communication is not a competition of who speaks the most or the loudest. It is about connection. And connection grows when you listen more than you speak. If you can practice this skill consistently, you will not only improve your communication, you will improve your relationships, your influence, and your ability to inspire others. Because in the end, people may not remember every word you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And nothing makes a person feel more respected, more understood, and more valued than the gift of being truly heard. When most people think about communication, they picture words. They think of sentences, clever phrases, or polished speeches. But the truth is, the majority of what you communicate does not come from your mouth at all. It comes from your body, your posture, your eyes, your hands, your tone, even the pauses you allow. Nonverbal communication is the silent orchestra that plays behind your words, and often it speaks louder than the words themselves. Think about the times you've met someone who said all the right things, yet something felt off. Perhaps their smile didn't reach their eyes. Perhaps they nodded, but their body was slightly turned away. Something inside you whispered, "This person isn't fully genuine." That whisper is your natural ability to read body language, a skill every human being has, whether they realize it or not. Now imagine using that same power intentionally. When you sit with your shoulders straight, you signal confidence. When you lean forward slightly as someone speaks, you show interest. When you hold steady but gentle eye contact, you build trust. These small adjustments transform the way people perceive you, even without you saying a single word. Consider a handshake. In just a few seconds, it can reveal hesitation or assurance, detachment or warmth. A weak handshake can unconsciously make others think you lack conviction. A crushing grip may seem like arrogance, but a firm, steady, respectful handshake communicates balance, and balance is what draws people to you. Nonverbal communication is not only about what others see in you. It's also about how you feel within yourself. Try this simple test. The next time you feel nervous before a meeting or conversation, stand tall with your feet planted. Lift your chin slightly and take 2 deep breaths. Notice how quickly your mind begins to calm. The body leads the mind, and when your body communicates strength, your mind follows with confidence. The same is true with tone of voice. Words are only the surface. Tone is the current beneath them. You can say, "I'm fine," in a way that convinces no one, or you can say the same phrase with a tone that radiates sincerity. A calm, steady tone projects authority. A warm, uplifting tone invites connection. Think of the voices you've admired. Not rushed, not frantic, but measured, intentional, clear. That is the kind of tone that lingers in people's minds long after the conversation ends. Silence, too, is a powerful form of communication. Many people are uncomfortable with pauses, so they rush to fill the space with words. But pauses are not empty. They give weight to your message. They give the listener time to absorb your meaning, and they show that you are in control of the moment. A well-placed silence can often make your words echo louder than a stream of rushed sentences ever could. Nonverbal cues also reveal your emotions in ways you may not realize. Crossing your arms tightly may unintentionally signal defensiveness. Constantly looking away may hint at insecurity. Tapping your foot restlessly may show impatience. Awareness is the key. Once you become conscious of your habits, you gain the power to reshape them. You begin to align your outward presence with your inner intention. Remember, people may forget the specifics of what you said, but they will remember the feeling you left behind. That feeling is largely shaped by your nonverbal language. When your words and body are in harmony, you create communication that is not only heard but deeply felt. And in the end, it is that feeling that inspires trust, connection, and influence. Every powerful communicator understands that listening is not merely the act of waiting for your turn to speak. It is an active, intentional choice to step into another person's world, to see through their eyes, and to feel through their words. Too often, conversations turn into competing monologues, where each person is more concerned with preparing their reply than truly absorbing what is being said. But when you decide to genuinely listen, you transform the interaction. You create trust, understanding, and connection at a level that words alone cannot achieve. Think about the last time you spoke with someone who made you feel truly heard. Perhaps they leaned in slightly, nodding with genuine interest. Their eyes stayed with yours, not distracted by a phone or a wandering glance. They didn't interrupt. Instead, They allowed your thoughts to flow, offering subtle affirmations that they were fully present with you. How did you feel in that moment? Most likely, you felt valued, respected, and even safe to express more of yourself. That is the gift of active listening. It makes people open up, because they sense they are not being judged or rushed, but rather understood. Active listening requires discipline. It means quieting the internal chatter that tempts you to formulate a quick comeback or to steer the conversation toward your own stories. Instead, it asks you to pause, to breathe, and to give the other person the stage. It also requires empathy, the ability to listen not only to the words, but to the emotions behind them. A colleague might say, "I'm fine," but their tone, their hesitation, or their lowered shoulders may tell you something deeper. By paying attention to these subtle signals, you hear not just with your ears, but with your awareness. One practical way to strengthen your listening is to repeat back, in your own words, what you believe the other person is saying. For example, if a friend shares their struggles at work, you might respond, "It sounds like you're feeling overlooked and underappreciated." This shows that you are not only hearing the words, but also processing the meaning behind them. It validates their experience and encourages them to go further, deepening the conversation. Another technique is to ask clarifying questions, not to challenge but to explore. "When you said that, what did you mean?" Or, "Can you help me understand how that made you feel?" Such questions signal care and curiosity. The cornerstones of meaningful dialogue. The irony of communication is that the more you listen, the more influential your words become when you do speak. Why? Because people are far more open to those who first give them the respect of being heard. They are more willing to trust your advice, follow your lead, or consider your perspective when they know you took time to consider theirs. Listening is not weakness. It is power concealed in humility. In today's world, where distractions are constant and attention spans are shrinking, offering someone your undivided attention is a rare gift. Put away your phone during conversations. Look into the speaker's eyes. Slow your breathing to match the calm you want to bring to the moment. These small, almost invisible actions send a loud and clear message. You matter. And when people feel that, they remember you differently. You are no longer just a participant in their conversation. You become a trusted presence in their life. So, if you want to become a better communicator, begin not with the art of speaking, but with the art of listening. Because the one who listens deeply is the one who connects most profoundly. And at the heart of all great communication lies connection. Not the cleverness of our words, but the sincerity of our attention. Many people believe that communication is about speaking more, but in truth, some of the most powerful communication comes from listening. When you listen deeply, you give the other person something far greater than words. You give them the gift of being understood, and when people feel understood, they naturally open their hearts, they trust you, and they respect what you have to say in return. Think about the last time you spoke with someone who wasn't really listening. Maybe their eyes wandered, or they checked their phone, or they interrupted before you could finish your thought. How did that make you feel? Likely, it made you feel invisible, as though your words didn't matter. Now imagine the opposite. When someone looks directly at you, nods gently, stays quiet while you speak, and responds with thoughtfulness. In that moment, your words matter. You feel seen. That is the impact of true listening. Good communication is not a performance. It is a connection, and connection cannot exist without listening. Too often, people prepare their replies while the other person is still speaking. They are waiting to respond, not listening to understand. But if you shift your focus from replying quickly to understanding fully, you will transform the quality of every conversation you have. This practice requires patience. It means slowing down and resisting the urge to interrupt. It means allowing silence to exist without rushing to fill it. Silence can be uncomfortable, but it is also powerful. In silence, people gather their thoughts, and in silence, you show that you are truly giving space for their voice. Here's a practical way to improve. When someone finishes speaking, pause for 2 seconds before replying. That pause accomplishes 2 things. First, it signals to the other person that you were not just waiting to talk, but actually absorbing their words. Second, it gives you clarity, allowing your response to be thoughtful rather than reactive. This simple pause can change the way people perceive you. They will sense that you are a calm and considerate communicator. Listening also involves more than your ears. It involves your eyes, your body language, and your emotions. Leaning slightly forward, nodding gently, keeping your phone away, and maintaining eye contact are all physical ways of showing that you care about what the other person is saying. Emotionally, it means stepping into their shoes, asking yourself, what are they really trying to tell me? What feeling lies beneath their words? When you listen with empathy, you hear more than just sentences. You hear the human being behind them. Great leaders, mentors, and friends are remembered not only for the wisdom of their words, but for the depth of their listening. People follow those who make them feel valued, not those who speak the loudest. By practicing genuine listening, you create trust, and trust is the foundation of all meaningful relationships, whether personal or professional. You may be wondering, how does listening make me a better communicator? The answer is simple. When you listen, you gather information, you understand context, and you build rapport. All of that makes your words more relevant, more respectful, and more persuasive. Instead of speaking into a void, you are speaking into a space of connection. And that is when your words land with impact. So remember this truth. People don't just want to hear your words. They want to feel your presence. The next time you engage in a conversation, focus less on what you will say, next and more on how you can make the other person feel heard. Because when you listen deeply, your silence speaks volumes, and your eventual words carry the weight of wisdom. Think about the conversations you've had, where you left feeling uplifted, inspired, and understood. Now think of the ones that left you drained, misunderstood, or unheard. The difference between the two isn't just the topic or the people involved. It's the energy you bring into communication. Words carry energy, but so do your tone, your pauses, and your intentions. When you communicate, you're not only exchanging information, you're exchanging emotions, and emotions linger long after words are forgotten. The truth is, people don't always remember the details of what you say, but they never forget how you made them feel. This is why it's so important to bring positive energy into your communication. A calm voice in a heated moment can disarm tension. A warm smile during a difficult discussion can soften the hardest defenses. A gentle but firm tone can command respect without raising volume. When you understand this, you begin to see communication as more than language. It becomes an art of emotional influence. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a workplace setting where one person gives feedback by pointing out mistakes harshly, while another gives feedback by highlighting strengths first, and then suggesting improvements with care. Both communicate the same message, but the energy is entirely different. One leaves the receiver discouraged, the other leaves them motivated. The words may be similar, but the emotional impact is worlds apart. Bringing positive energy doesn't mean you avoid honesty. It doesn't mean sugarcoating or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It means framing your message in a way that encourages growth rather than resistance. For instance, instead of saying, "You always get this wrong," you could say, "Here's a way we can improve this together." Both statements identify the problem, but the second carries energy that invites collaboration instead of defensiveness. Energy also shows up in the way you listen. When someone feels truly heard, their heart opens, nodding, maintaining gentle eye contact, leaning slightly forward. These are silent ways of saying, "I'm here with you." You don't even need to interrupt with words. Your presence itself communicates that you value them. And the energy of being heard often transforms the entire conversation. There's also power in your silence. Sometimes not rushing to fill the gaps leaves space for others to reflect, to open up, and to share what they truly feel. In that space, your calm energy does the work. People sense when they are not pressured but respected, and that creates trust. One of the most profound lessons about energy in communication is that it multiplies. If you bring irritation into a conversation, the other person often mirrors it back. If you bring calmness, you often receive calmness in return. If you bring enthusiasm, others catch it. Your energy sets the tone, and it ripples outward, influencing not just one interaction, but sometimes an entire relationship. This is why managing your internal state before you speak is so important. If you enter a conversation filled with frustration or fear, that energy will seep through your words, even if you try to hide it. But if you take a few moments to ground yourself through deep breaths, a pause, or even a silent affirmation, you can shift your energy before you open your mouth. That shift can change the entire outcome. Remember, communication isn't about showing how much you know. It's about creating connection. And the strongest connections are built when people feel safe, respected, and uplifted by your presence. The more you practice bringing positive, grounded energy into your words, the more people will want to listen to you, trust you, and follow your lead. At the heart of it, communication is not simply the transfer of information. It is the transfer of energy. When you understand this truth and live it, your words become more than sounds. They become experiences, memories, and sparks of transformation for everyone you encounter. Communication, at its core, is not just about the words you speak, but about the trust you create. Trust is the invisible thread that binds people together, and without it, even the most eloquent words fall flat. You may speak with perfect grammar, deliver with flawless tone, and even present brilliant ideas. But if people do not trust you, they will not truly hear you. This is why credibility and integrity stand as the foundation of great communication. Trust is not something you demand. It is something you earn. And it begins with consistency. When your words match your actions, people believe you. If you tell someone you will follow up tomorrow, and you actually do, that simple act strengthens the bond. If you share advice, and they see you living by it, your message carries weight. But when there is a gap between what you say and what you do, your message loses its power. Words may inspire for a moment, but consistency sustains belief for a lifetime. Consider the people who have inspired you the most in your life. Chances are, it wasn't just their speeches or their clever choice of words that moved you. It was the feeling that they stood firmly behind what they spoke. Their communication carried integrity, and integrity makes words unshakable. That is why when you communicate, your character speaks louder than your voice. Another key to trust is vulnerability. Many people think that showing vulnerability makes them weak, but in truth, it makes them relatable. When you share your struggles honestly, when you admit that you not have all the answers, people feel closer to you. They see you as human, and humanity creates connection. You don't have to put on a mask of perfection to be respected. In fact, trying to appear flawless often distances people from you. Acknowledging mistakes, sharing lessons learned, and being open about challenges can make your message resonate more deeply than polished speeches ever could. Trust also grows in the soil of respect. Respect means you value the perspective of others, even when it differs from your own. When you listen attentively without interrupting, when you acknowledge their concerns instead of dismissing them, you communicate that they matter. People who feel respected are far more willing to respect you in return, and respect lays the groundwork for lasting influence. One powerful practice to build credibility in communication is to speak less but mean more. Many people believe that long explanations prove intelligence, but often it is the opposite. Clarity builds confidence. When your words are few but strong, when you speak only what you truly believe, others sense your sincerity. The less you try to impress, the more people will trust your presence. In professional settings, credibility is often established not in big moments, but in small ones. Answering an email when you promised, giving credit to others in a team meeting, or staying calm when tensions rise. These subtle actions reinforce your reliability. Each time you show up with steadiness, your voice gains power. Communication is not an event. It is a habit, and trust is built brick by brick through your everyday choices. Ultimately, great communicators do not just deliver messages, they embody them. Their lives become a reflection of their words, and that reflection gives others confidence to follow, to believe, and to act. Remember, people might forget the details of your message, but they will always remember whether they felt safe believing you. And once you earn that trust, your words become more than sound. They become influence, guidance, and light. The final key to mastering communication is understanding that it is not just about tone or timing. It is about alignment. When who you are, what you believe, and how you express it all move in harmony. At this stage, communication stops being a skill you perform and becomes a natural extension of your character. The words you choose, the way you listen, and the energy you bring into a room reflect the person you have built yourself to be. When people listen to you, they are not only hearing your sentences, they are sensing your intention, your integrity, and your authenticity. That is why the most powerful communicators are often those who are deeply genuine. They may not use the fanciest vocabulary, but when they speak, others lean in because they feel the weight of honesty behind every word. Think of times when someone close to you spoke with raw sincerity, perhaps telling you they were proud of you or encouraging you when you doubted yourself. That memory lives in you not because of perfect grammar or flawless delivery, but because their words carried truth. This is the level of communication you must strive for. It requires courage, because authenticity means showing yourself as you are, without masks, without excessive filters, without hiding behind what you think others want to hear. It means embracing your voice fully. There will be times when people misunderstand you, and moments when speaking your truth feels uncomfortable. But silence is far more costly than the risk of being vulnerable. When you reach this place, your communication becomes transformational. Instead of merely exchanging information, you begin to influence emotions, shift beliefs, and inspire action. You stop speaking just to be heard and start speaking to bring light, clarity, and strength to others. The world is hungry for this kind of communication, not noise, not shallow chatter, but words that breathe life into those who listen. Practical application of this principle begins with self-reflection. Ask yourself, do my words match my values? Do I speak with consistency? Whether I am in a room of strangers or among my closest friends. When you align your language with your principles, people recognize it. They trust you more. They may not agree with everything you say, but they will respect the congruence between your message and your character. Think also about listening, the other half of authentic communication. When you listen deeply, without planning your response while the other person speaks, you communicate something powerful, that their words matter. Listening with presence is a silent form of respect. And the paradox is that the more you listen with care, the more weight your own words carry when it is your turn to speak. Finally, remember that communication is never about perfection. It is about connection. Perfection can create distance, making you seem untouchable or artificial. Connection, however, makes you human, relatable, approachable, memorable. You do not need flawless speeches to inspire others. You need words that come from a heart that believes in what it says. So as you walk into your next conversation, remind yourself your voice is not small, your words are not meaningless. They carry the power to heal, to encourage, to motivate, and to guide. When you align your heart with your message, communication stops being a skill you practice and becomes a gift you give. And every time you give it with sincerity, you improve not only your relationships, but also the world around you. As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on what has been shared. Communication, at its core, is not simply about speaking fluently or writing elegantly. It is about connection. It is the bridge that allows your thoughts, your emotions, and your vision to flow into the minds and hearts of others. And it is this bridge that determines whether your ideas inspire or fade into silence. Think of where you began. Perhaps you felt uncertain, wondering if improving your communication would take years of training, or if it was even possible at all. But over these past moments, you have discovered that small shifts, a stronger first impression, clearer listening, authentic expression, greater presence can transform the way others respond to you. The skills of communication are not locked behind walls of talent or natural charm. They are habits anyone can cultivate, including you. Every time you choose to pause before speaking, you invite clarity. Every time you decide to listen with full attention, you create trust. Every time you align your words with your values, you strengthen authenticity. These moments may feel small in isolation, but together they build a reputation, a character, and a voice that people remember. The truth is, words can heal or harm. They can motivate or discourage. They can open doors or close them forever. That is why improving your communication is not just about career success, social influence, or personal confidence. It is about responsibility. The responsibility of using your voice to lift, to guide, and to bring light into conversations that might otherwise remain in the dark. Do not underestimate the ripple effect of one well-spoken word at the right time. A single sentence of encouragement can change the direction of someone's day. A carefully expressed truth can resolve years of misunderstanding. A compassionate silence, held in patience, can calm storms of anger. These are the moments when communication rises above technique and becomes a force for transformation. Remember also that growth in communication is never complete. Just as language evolves, so do we. Every conversation is an opportunity to practice, to refine, to deepen our presence. Some days you will stumble. Some words may come out wrong, but each attempt makes you stronger. Progress is not measured in perfection, but in persistence. As you step forward, carry this knowledge with humility and with courage. Know that your words matter. Know that your voice carries weight. And know that you do not need to be the loudest in the room to make an impact. You simply need to be clear, sincere, and consistent. So the next time you sit across from a friend, a colleague, a loved one, or even a stranger, remember that you hold the ability to influence how they feel, how they think, and what they believe is possible. Let that awareness shape the way you choose your words. Let it guide you toward building bridges instead of walls, opening minds instead of closing them, and bringing light instead of confusion. Your journey does not end here. This is only the beginning of a lifelong practice, one that will reward you again and again as you grow. Walk into your next conversation not with fear, but with confidence, not with doubt, but with trust, and not with hesitation, but with the quiet strength of someone who knows their voice matters. Give just a few minutes to practice each principle, and you will soon discover that your communication has not only improved, but has become one of the greatest gifts you bring to the world. Speak with courage, listen with compassion, and always remember your words have the power to shape lives, including your own.